Welcome back to another episode of the FPL Sheeple podcast. The chaos of Game Week 19 was compounded by the crashing of the FPL website just minutes before the deadline, meaning that some people's transfers went through and most others did not. Interestingly, some that went through remained on the bench as the deadline passed, so it was a really scary time for many managers. Thankfully, our format and timing stopped such horror shows from happening, and we were at least at peace with our transfers. I am joined by my co host Donatello. Even though our transfers were done, Donatello, looks like our bravery of not free hitting didn't pay off too much, right?
That's right. I think we fell right in the middle of the overall points. I think above or nearby the average. But I think now that I'm looking back at the changes that we didn't make, I think we did well because I I'm assuming now most of the players want to go back to uh, uh, you know to Salah. Whoever took him out for Ronaldo or someone else like Son or Kane, um, they want to go back to Salah. We already have him in our team, so I that's the only what do you say, the silver lining that I see here is that we don't have to shuffle around that much because the skeleton of the team or like the main players that are going to feature in game week 20 us are there. So I think we
Well,
saved ourselves a bit
w-
of a hassle. So
yeah, I think you are speaking for yourself because I did take out Salah and I have Son. Though, though I think I'm going to just stick with it. So I mean, this is sort of a spoiler alert. Uh, I think I'm going to stick with not having Salah. He's going to destroy
yeah,
Leicester. He's going to score a ton of points, but whatever points I'll be hurt by, hopefully the differentials in my teams make up for it.
yeah. I
Uh,
yeah, that maybe that I'm speaking more of myself here, but whoever decided not to take the free hit, just be happy that you still have Salah in your team,
yeah, I know.
and or whoever decided to not uh, take a hit for him, just be happy you have him in the team because Leicester is probably the one last fixture before he goes away for the African Cup of Nations, where you can expect like a big haul from him. So
Yeah.
that's the only silver lining. Apart from that, yeah, I mean, you never know how a game week turns out. Even if we had done a free hit, who would know how it turns out? So
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
just like you can't do much on that.
yeah, you are absolutely right. Because I mean, for example, our this week, Big Man Bakar, who's one of our content creators, he was doing his free hit transfers at the last moment, and as I said, the FPL website crashed, and in the end, his free hit did go through, but he was not able
Hmm.
to make his lineup changes. So Son, for example, was on his bench, and
Yeah.
so despite of that, you will see ahead in the episode of how well he still ended up doing. So it's like almost like even if you free hit, you probably were not going to make the optimal choice of having the right players starting, especially like for example, I think the Man City game was a good example because
Yeah.
there were, I mean, a lot of changes to the team, and if we had picked, our first choice Man City midfielders, I think that would have been like Foden and Bernardo. They scored next to nothing. And
Yeah.
in fact, Mahrez, Sterling, they were better. In fact, Gundogan was also a better choice than, Bernardo and Foden. So anyway, you are right that a free hit this week in retrospect would have been probably a bunch of bad choices. But I think a typical, I mean, we would have gotten a typical benefit of a free hit like 10 points or 15 points. And
Probably. Yeah.
yeah, just that game week rise, I mean, that points overall rank rise. But I think, yeah, let's see how it goes. We have two free hits in the future which we can
Two
use
free
for.
hits. That's the silver lining. Another silver
I know,
lining. Two free hits. Use
I
it
know.
wherever you can.
And when we'll see in our game week reviews, our ranks did not terribly drop, so we should be
Yeah.
we should be
Yeah.
okay.
Not taking a hit definitely worked in our favor.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so then let's just jump into the episode. And as promised, just 2 days ago, we were going to ring in the changes for our roster of FPL content creators this game week because it's sort of halfway point of the season, and we thought we should give the roster a bit of a change as based on the feedback of one of our listeners. Shout out FPL Balboa, who suggested that we should, probably remove some content creators who are not doing so well so far in the season, not saying that they will not jump back and rise in rank and be in the top whatever 100k
Yeah,
10k.
his suggestion was more of keep or add content creators who are under the rank of 100K, as
Yeah,
he wants to focus more on the content creators who are doing really well. So
exactly.
that was the main reasoning behind us substituting current content creators who we've had for last season as well as 19 game weeks in this season, and every one of them has featured on the podcast. So it just makes sense to replace them with the content creators who are under 100K, and uh, it's going to be fun because
Yeah.
everyone is doing really well. The content, the template team is going to be very different. I haven't seen it yet, but
Hmm.
I'm sure it's going to be really different from what we have been having for the last 19 game weeks. So
Yeah.
yeah, so shout out to FPL Balboa for the suggestion.
Yeah, so and yeah, based on this suggestion, yeah, as you said, we removed some of the content creators who had a rank below 100k, because also it sort of makes sense to us as well, because we also want to stay in the top 100k. That was our aim. So now if we focus on all the content creators who are in the top 100k and make changes, or at least try to mirror their team somehow, we should theoretically
Mm,
reach the goal that we have in our mind. So just
yeah.
quickly going through the outs and ins. So outs, Mark Southerns from the FPL Black Box podcast is on the way out. Also is Will from Fantasy Football Hub, FPL Heisenberg, Nick and Tom from Who Got the Assist podcast, Fergie from Fantasy Football Hub, Lee from the FPL family, and Brandon from Always Cheating podcast. These are the 8 content creators who are on the way out. And the ins are FPL Focal, who's currently world rank number 1. So he should be a really interesting person to follow, um, given that his overall rank is 1, and it'll be interesting to see, what he does. Then FPL Mate as well. We have Rich from the FPL Surgery podcast. We have FPL Nima from the Net That Hall podcast. FPL Harry, who was called FPL Tips with a Z last season. He's back. Adam Hopcroft is also back. We had him last season and now he's back because he's performing well as he always does. TED Talks FPL, and we have James from the Planet FPL podcast. So these are the 8 content creators who are in. They are doing really well. They're all of them almost, I think, yeah, all of them are in the top 100k. So it should be really interesting to follow. And so, after ringing in these 8 changes, we then obviously made a new template team, generated a new template team of the 20 content creators, and let's take a look at it for game week 19. So,
Mm,
so now this week, because there were a bunch of free hits, this template team is going to be quite different. And of
yeah.
course, because we have a different set of players, this template team is totally different from what we saw in the episode before. So we have couple of Arsenal midfielders, Bukayo Saka and Martinelli, who are in the template team. They are still not in a majority of the teams, but they are like the most commonly picked midfielders. So that's really refreshing to see. And yeah, obviously Bowen is also another, I think, addition who's now more template. Ronaldo, who was the template captain, he was the captain for most of these teams. And I think the defense is more or less the same because Ramsdale, James, Alonso, Cancelo, and I'm sure Trent is the back five that everyone has.
Yeah.
It's just his midfield and forward that has, drastically changed.
Yep.
And that's obvious because even for us, we don't own, uh, you know, like 4 of the 6 what are midfielders slash forwards, um, because we were focusing on, as you said at the beginning of the podcast, on a different set of content creators, and our template rather our teams were matching that template, and now it's different. So should be good.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes in the next few weeks. All right, so then moving on to the review of our game week 19. So starting with my team, I ended up finishing up on 44 points. So I think because we didn't take a hit, and yeah, Son was a good captain choice, it ended up, being a reasonable game week because I mean, now this week we had to put screenshots from livefpl.net, which is an amazing website which keeps track of your live ranks and live scores every minute, every second, as the matches progress. So we put our screenshots of the latest ranks, and the ranks are pretty accurate. So in the end, your FPL rank will be as what it says on live FPL. So for me, I was on 157k and I dropped down to 169k, which is not a
Mm.
terrible drop, just a 7% drop as it says on the live FPL website. So that's fine for me. And on live FPL, you can also find out what should have been the score for you to maintain your rank, and that was like 48 points. So like just 4 points away from staying at the same rank. So I didn't suffer much in this weird game week. And yeah, I think yeah, shout out to Alexander Lacazette. He came through with his 11 points finally. I mean, that's why I brought him in the team, and he delivered. Son, my captain, was again really good, and otherwise there wasn't much to shout about. Mm.
Mm.
And yeah, live FPL also says that I'm 19 points away from 100k, which I don't think is a long distance away, so should be catchable at least over the course of half a season. So all good.
Yeah.
Then coming to your team, you got 43 points. Gone.
Yeah, I got 43 points, 1 point less than you. Uh, Nothing much to talk here. We both had Son captain, so um, 16 points from him. The only addition, or like points addition I got was from Roja and Smithrow. Smithrow has been like incredible. He just came off the bench and scored once again. I think that's like 4 times in a row now.
Yeah.
So I've been getting 6 points from him consistently. So he's done that again. So yeah, Smithrow with a goal and Broja with an assist. So overall 43 points. I fell from 97k to 110k, 15% drop in the rank, 3 points of 100k, really not that
Yeah.
far away. So, all in all, as you mentioned, this is because we didn't take a hit. If we took a -4, we would have been. I'm sure I would have been somewhere 120 or 130, and you
Yeah.
would have been also further down.
Yeah.
So not taking a hit was definitely worked in our favor in this very low game week. So all in all, I think we're okay for now.
Yeah, your team is just incredible. Your midfield, I think I'm really jealous of that midfield, especially going into game week 20. So should be really good
Yeah.
to see how it goes. All right. So then every episode or every game week, what we do is we do a team comparison between all the content creators that we follow. So this week, since we are have changed the roster and are restarting our creator of the week draws. So this week we have Big Man Bakar, who's again ended up scoring the most points in this game week because he played his free hit and he got 65 points. A really smart free hit, and as I said at the beginning of the pod, he still had Son on his bench. So I mean, imagine if his Son was there instead of Reece James, the zero
Yeah.
pointer from Reece James, he would have had even more points. I'm not sure if he would have played Son instead of James. I imagine he would have played Son instead of Broja or Bowen, and that would have been
Yeah.
four extra points, I think, because Son had 8. Apart from that, he is Bukayo Saka, gave him 16 points, and Riyad Mahrez. That's a genius pick
Hmm.
because I think Bakar was on the Man City forums or the the team leaks because I'm sure he took a look at Mahrez starting and then put him on his free hit team. And he was also tweeting about Tariq Lamptey as a differential pick in the defenders, and he indeed had Tariq Lamptey and ended up getting the clean sheet, and so that was a big differential for him. So yeah, so yeah, kudos to Bakar for a free hit well played. I think
Yeah.
that boosts his ranks as well a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then every week, in order to again compare all of the teams from the 20 content creators, we also prepare a spreadsheet which compares the starting 11s of these 20 content creators. We have the game week points from them, we have the total points and overall rank of the content creators, and then we have the players in each of their teams, which and the players are sort of organized in a certain way, such that the most common or the most frequently picked players are on the left of the spreadsheet, and as we move to the right of the spreadsheet, we see the more differential or the rare picks that are only in one or two teams. So this spreadsheet helps us to pick out these gross patterns of each of the players that are picked very often, like the template itself is visible here, and then you also get to see these really interesting picks by some of your content creators who you are interested in or interested in following. You can just look at what differential picks they have and maybe add them to your team or something like that. And now with the roster changes, we have a really different looking overall rank range. I think for me, I am at the bottom of this league with 154k. It's like a disgrace. I should have been relegated, but fortunately I am the creator of the spreadsheet, so I do what I like
And
and I
you're not a
remain.
content creator as well, so that works
Yeah,
out.
technically, yeah, I'm a content creator who's not a content creator, so
Yeah.
yeah, I should remain in the sheet forever. But yeah, we have the overall rank one in there. That just looks incredible to
Yeah.
look at a team that we can focus on. Rarely we have a content creator who's that high up in the rank, and now we'll have all insights and opinions from FPL Focal, which
Mm.
hopefully in the next few weeks he's the creator of the week, and we can focus on those more. So anyway, so we look at the spreadsheet every week, and then we present our key takeaways for the game week, and then some strategies or some pointers that we would like to use for the next game week or so. So going to our spreadsheet takeaways, starting with yours.
Yeah, mine starts with the same. Yet
Yeah.
again, we were all a victim of Pep Roulette
Yeah.
because we thought there was not much of a gap between the last two game weeks. We thought Foden was rested. That means he is bound to play this game week. He did not. He came on for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, didn't do anything. Hopefully he starts the next match, because if he doesn't, then I don't know why do I have him in my team,
Yeah.
or why I have 15 million invested in City assets. So yeah, Pep Roulette is ruining it for a lot of content creators and FPL managers. Second was, yeah, but yet again ESR has been the most effective substitute, like a super sub. He's been coming on for like I think the last three games he's come on for 15 minutes and he has scored in those 15 minutes. It's mainly because he's getting rested. Um, and then, the current Arsenal squad is working out so well that he doesn't really need to play. And also the fixtures aren't that bad. So, yeah, a lot of content creators in our current spreadsheet have him, so 6 points, free 6 points for everyone.
Hmm.
Um, and then another thing coming back to it was like the Chelsea clean sheet woes. Like, I don't know, man. Reece James with an own goal, Alonso with a yellow card. Uh, I think Reece James also got a yellow card. So I don't know what to expect from a Chelsea defense, because at times like they are really good, at times like they just concede really bad goals and concede yellow cards. So um yeah, I mean, I've started thinking about this, like when will it be a time where we replace them by someone else.
Hmm.
uh and that takes me into my next point, which is if it's a time now or in the near future to stock up on Spurs assets. We already have Son, but is it worth getting someone like Reguilon or Harry Kane even in our teams, because they've been doing okay under Conte. They've been winning. They've won last couple of matches, and they've kept clean sheets in them too. So if we want to get rid of the Chelsea double up, maybe we could substitute one of the defenders by someone else. So that is something I've started thinking on for the next few game weeks, and depending on who we get as a content creator, if they are also or down thinking about going down the same route, then maybe we will make those changes. So those are like my takeaways. And then, as usual, I like to identify the differentials picked by our content creators. And this week, there were some really big scorers like Sterling, Tierney, Mahrez, all in double digits. Kevin De Bruyne, a name that has come up after a
Mhm.
long time. He's been playing regularly now, either scoring or assisting in his last 2 3 matches. So he's there back to back. And then Sanchez, the goalkeeper, which we all had some time ago, and
Yeah.
he got a 9 pointer. So good to see his name there. So those were the differentials in this week's. Those were the differentials on top of the very different template team that we had. So yeah, good to see new names in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess, yeah, that's why, it sort of freshens up the pod a bit, I feel, with
Yeah,
with these 8 new content creators. It just is a different set, different pool of players, different play styles. Should be really interesting.
yeah,
For me, I normally look at the range of points and uh, you know what sets the top teams apart from the others. So the range of points this week was really broad, from 25
mhm,
points all the way up to 65 points. That's because a lot of free hits were played. So there were 7 free hits played this game week, and the um, all the 7 teams were in the top 9 of our spreadsheet. So that's why, I mean, the free hit is clearly was advantageous because you are picking players focused for a particular week. For example, if we take a look at the average points of the free hit teams, it was like 55 points, and the average points of the teams that did not play a free hit was 40 points. So a like clear 15-point advantage for the free hit teams, which is something that people have in the past pointed out as a good sort of good difference. I mean, free hit gives you that 15-point advantage that can help you climb the ranks. But the most interesting part is that this week was not an obvious free hit week, and there are multiple options where people are going to play their hits in the next few weeks, maybe even later in the season, because it's a season full of COVID with double triple game weeks, as we said in the last episode. So that's why this free hit effect, even though it was really pronounced this game week, I think we are going to see multiple instances of this effect over a lot of game weeks. So we'll keep an eye out for that. In our spreadsheet,
yeah,
we do know when a creator plays a free hit or not. So we'll always know if a free hit is going to have a better effect in another game week. So yeah, so that was those were the key takeaways for me and for us in general. So then let's move on to the creator of the week for game week 20. uh, so it's Big Man Bakar. He's one third of the FPL Wire podcast, and he also writes articles on the Fantasy Football Hub. He is a big presence on Twitter. He posts quite a elaborate and detailed thread, a preview thread every game week, where he answers the community's most burning questions, and it's really useful for one to go through it because they there will be at least one question that is of interest to your own FPL team. So it always helps to go through the elaborate thread and find out, you know, things that are, you know, really relevant to your team. Um, Big Man Bakar is at a current rank of 18,000 thanks to his great free hit play. I think he rose in rank quite a bit this week. He's played FPL 12 seasons so far, and his best rank was rank 4 in 2014-15. Really amazing achievement there. And he obviously, this was his one appearance in the top 10, and he's also been in the top 50k three other times, and he has innumerable top 100k finishes, obviously. So yeah, really great manager, is really heavily based on stats. Does look at stats quite a bit and make his decisions. So uh, always interesting to follow his play style as well throughout the season. So yeah, so Big Man Bakar is the creator of the week, and yeah, why don't you talk about his transfer picks for this
Uh,
game week?
sure. Um, this so Shout out to Bakar. He posted a Twitter thread as well as he posted an article on Fantasy Football Hub. So we've gotten this data from there. This week it wasn't much of elaborate uh, suggestions by Bakar for individual player or like per position, but it was more about questions leading to game week 20, with the first one being whether it is a right game week to free hit, uh, especially for all those who have not free hitted in game week 19. And as per Bakar, it says it's probably not a good time because if you have the standard team players in your team, then they have good upcoming fixtures. So it would be more of a defensive play, in his words, if you free hit. And so yeah, so that's his suggestion, to not free hit this game week, maybe for something like 22 or something in the future where there are another double or triple game week. So keep your free hits for now, is what Bucker says. Next question was about Arsenal assets, because I think it is very clear that most of the teams have at least two Arsenal assets in the team, Ramsdale being the common one, and then people either have ESR, Martinelli, or Saka in their teams, or even Lacazette. And Arsenal don't have a match this game week because Wolves are suffering from COVID. So um, what to do with the Arsenal assets in your team? So this is where the main focus was. In terms of goalkeeper, you can either keep Ramsdale um, or transfer him out to De Gea. But if you can, keep Ramsdale and remove the second goalkeeper. If you have cash with you, then take out the second goalkeeper and bring in David De Gea, because he is the like United have good set of fixtures. So that was one suggestion. Martinelli, it was Bakar's suggestion to keep Martinelli. Of all the Arsenal assets, keep him in your team. Um, uh, he's got like great run in form, so might be useful in double game week 22. What to do with defenders like White and Tierney? Bakar's suggestion was to sub them out for either someone like Region or Diego Dallo. Only if you are able to, like, if you're going to take a hit for them, it's best that you just keep them on your bench and not transfer them out. But if they're only players from Arsenal team which you need to get out, then probably take them out for those two names on which are Raguan and Dallo. And finally, his suggestion about Lacazette was to move him on for Ronaldo or Antonio. But then transition to Antonio is possibly more easier because Antonio is
Hmm.
cheaper than him. But for Ronaldo, you need to have some sort of cash in the bank. So if this is a transfer you are planning to make, it would make sense if you hold on for this week's transfer. Like, don't make any transfers and just make two transfers in the next game week where you can be able to move some cash around and get Ronaldo in. So that was the suggestion based on the Arsenal assets. And then finally, a question about the City duo on Bernardo Silva and Foden. Bakar says that he would rather keep Foden. Excuse me, and his opinion on Bernardo Silva was that he overperformed. So he's just running. He's at the tail end of his peak. So it might be time that he might get replaced by someone else or for the long term. So keep Foden, and maybe if you want, you can sub him out for some sub Bernardo Silva out. But if you can't, just play and hope that you are not. You're not a victim of Pep Roulette. So those were Bakar's not transfer suggestions, but like Bakar's transfer talk based on multiple issues that he wanted to address.
Yeah, that's really useful, and because yeah, they're really relevant for Gaming 20, especially the Arsenal assets part, and I think that affects especially both our teams and especially my team. And yeah, I think that I found that section really useful
Yeah.
to make the changes. And so, speaking of which, let's take a look at the changes we've made for Game Week 20, starting with your team. And whoa, reversals, reversals. Uno reverse card.
Yeah, it's been like 3 weeks in a row now. I got De Gea out for Ramsdale. Ramsdale gives me a clean sheet. Now I swap him out for De Gea. But that was the only logical change that I could make based on Bakar's suggestion, because I have a fully playing 11. The rest of my team is really good, and
Yeah.
I want to have De Gea in the team because it is against Burnley. So I'm assuming they will keep a clean sheet. And on top of that, I also saw that Ramsdale has City and Spurs in the next two fixtures, so it might be worthwhile to just keep him out for the next two games and then bring him in. But I mean, I wanted to get him out I wanted to get Foster out, but as I told you, I just didn't have any cash
Hmm.
in the bank to make that swap. So it was just like a straight swap from Ramsdale to De Gea. The rest of the team says the same. I'm playing a 4-4-2 uh, with James Alonso, Cancelo, and Trent in the back four. Salah captain, Son vice captain, and the two City assets Foden and Silva, and then forwards Dennis and Broja. Finally, we are going to see Dennis after a long time.
Yeah.
I don't even know what happened to the Dennis versus King debate, but I think it's overshadowed by everything that happened over
Yeah.
the last couple of game weeks and COVID. So yeah, Dennis is back. So Dennis and Broja my forward line. So that is my team for this game week.
Yeah, Salah captain is the really nice part. Yeah, even I think in Bakar's suggestions we didn't find a really good suggestion for what to do with Bernardo. As in,
Yeah,
even if you have to
yeah,
get rid of him, there weren't too many alternatives, that were good,
exactly.
uh, so that you could downgrade Bernardo, for example, and then have cash to do the goalkeeper switch or something like
Yeah,
that. But anyway, I think you have a couple more game weeks to play around with that, and depending on game week 22, which is the double game week, what the fixtures look like there,
yeah,
you might not even get rid of Bernardo. So yeah, anyway, yeah, really interesting. Nice to see. Uh, Coming to my team, and for me, I think as I said, I really liked Bakar's suggestions with regards to the Arsenal assets, and also his suggestion regarding the goalkeeper. So for me, I have gotten rid of Lacazette, and I really thank him for his service. He really did well for the time he was in my team. Gave me the 11 points this game week in game week 19, and now he's off and Antonio is back in. Hopefully, Antonio, first of all, he just played one half, so I hope he starts and he's going to be fit. He scored a goal, so that again hopefully continues.
yeah,
And yeah, so Lacazette to Antonio, which meant that I had even more cash, because last week I did Salah to Son, so I had some cash already, and now this added more cash to it. So therefore, what I did was I brought in De Gea, but I did that instead of Foster. So I kept Ramsdale, and this is again
Mm.
with the idea that we want to do some sort of a bench boost in game week 22, which is probably going
Yeah.
to be a double game week. So just to keep all the playing assets in the team while adding, the new assets into the team. So De Gea comes in instead of Foster for a -4, but that's fine. I think since Ramsdale was not playing for me, I'm bringing in a goalkeeper for -4, but that's technically a -2 because the goalkeeper will play and hopefully at least scores 2 points. So
Yeah.
that those are the two changes for me. Son is the captain and Jota is the vice captain. I don't have Salah. I'm really fearing that part, but
Mm.
it's okay. Hopefully, Son scores equal points as Salah, and then it's not such a bad thing.
Yeah.
Apart from that, yeah, I think our team is pretty much the same: James, Alonso, Cancelo, Alexander Arnold, Foden, Bernardo, and I have King, so we can do the Dennis versus King thing again next game week. Uh, yeah, and Antonio up front. So that's my team. I think I'm going to focus and try to get the bench boosting done on game week 22. So even next game week, I'll focus on changes that add players to my bench so that I can
Mm.
bench boost. So I think the Brown Hill I have to change to someone interesting. So let's see uh, what happens there. So
Yep.
yeah, so those are our teams for game week 20. Looks really interesting. Hopefully there aren't any more postponements. Otherwise, we probably have to use our free hits that we've
Yeah.
saved so well finally. But yeah, anyway, if provided nothing changes, these are our teams, and we are saved from any deadline mishaps on the FPL website. We are just, you know as our episode title is on unofficial early deadline. I think the unofficial early deadline for us is whenever our episode goes out, because after that we don't do any changes more, except for maybe lineup changes sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so coming to the game week predictions, and I mean, so predictions for the matches and the score lines, and it's unbelievable. We have a total 100% match. That never happens. That's so rare. I mean, think of the probability. No, I'm kidding. I couldn't be bothered because the scores that you chose were I think pretty much what I would have chosen as well. There isn't even a single match where I would even say a different score line. Forget the
Yeah.
result.
It is just based on current performances, and
Yeah,
because I chose to go with a Newcastle win because they played really well today against United. So uh, yeah,
yeah.
and then I didn't choose a Chelsea clean sheet because you never know, man. I mean, they just they don't know. I
No,
don't know what they're doing.
No,
So
and Brighton are good. They attack well.
Brighton
So
are good, yeah.
yeah, so they could end up scoring. That's okay. Yeah, no, I think that's why I agreed with all of his scores. I didn't even
Mm.
have. I thought for a couple of matches I can change the scores, but it was like I was probably going to do it just for the heck of being different, and it's like
Yeah.
let it be. It's okay. I can be lazy once in a while if I agree with all the scores. So I just left them, and uh, yeah, so then this game week will be equal in terms of what we predicted. So anyway, so yeah, those are our predictions. Should be interesting. Yeah, we weren't able to figure out if our previous predictions were good. We'll do that in another episode when we have more time in between episodes to do that. So yeah, so then that's it for this game week's episode. Even though there was a short turnover, we managed to get our proper full length episode out. So I'm really happy with that. And yeah, hopefully we have a good clean game week and no more postponements, no more chaos. It's tomorrow, so hopefully there isn't too much that goes wrong between today and tomorrow, and at least the matches that are scheduled go ahead. Um, So yeah, so good luck to everyone, and I hope you enjoy the short turnover. Don't forget to you know, put in those changes way before the deadline. That's our only advice. And yeah, so yeah, good luck everyone, and that's it from us. So goodbye.
Good luck and goodbye.